Hello everyone, and welcome to the weekly Learn to Build stream, episode 3 in my ongoing series of helping people to build in Sansar, because I'm no expert, I'm just a community manager here. I'm Eliot, I'm Zebulon, and before coming to Sansar I'd never tried anything like this before, and after just spending an hour a week streaming, I'm starting to really get a feel and a fondness for building, and I wanted to show you an experience that inspired me, and then I will show you how, for free, using a standard Sansar template, you too can build your own beautiful house like this one here. So this was created by Paula70, and I came in and I was like, hey, this looks really nice. This looks almost like one of our templates, but it took me a while to figure out that she had just kit bashed it together from pieces from the Sansar Rooftop Template, and with minimal purchases from the store, most of the stuff in here either comes from the template or is a free item on the store. So let's start with the first thing that we see when we come here, and that's this wonderfully drunk robot. We just have this robot face down and some beer bottles in front of him and a little empty crate. And then we have this nice little tiled walkway, some trees, and we come up here to these steps. We've got these nice lights on the wall here, and it's very kind of almost Swedish, kind of minimalist entrance. And I'm going to go into most first person so it doesn't collide with stuff too much. And we've got this lovely, look at the texture on this. Look at this slick looking metal door frame and this little glass window. I really like this door frame. When we come in here, we can see the same technique applied here to the shower. I'm not so sure about this metal bucket. I feel like shower drain makes sense, but this very rusty bucket in this swish, nice looking apartment looks a little out of place. We've got, what we can suppose to be a shower here. We've got some vents and some lights up in the ceiling, and you can see from the reflections on the tiles that we've got some, so definitely some lights in here. Got a football. Unfortunately can't kick it or pick it up, but it's right there. And then I like this. This is like a nice little kind of kitchen area, and got this overlook into the living room where we've got pizza and tacos and beers and video games, and again, this really nice metal fixture. I love this metal fixture. I'm not sure about why you'd have a drill here, but I like this swish apartment for some hacker playboy. He's just got pizza and ice cream and milk just like lying about and a drill. Just like, yeah, this is a nice apartment, but it's not being lived in nicely. Just that freshly moved in look of having the TV on top of the box, and got this sick light and these nice shelves, and this really pretty window, which I'll show you some details about this. But I'm gonna teleport over here using the middle mouse button, and you can see we've got a bedroom. We've got this kind of mattress and pillow combo in front of this TV. We've got a computer in the corner, and got drinks and beer and coffee and a little keyboard and stuff. And I just really, really like it. I love the layout, I love the look, I love this little garden bit in the middle, little patio chair, some trees, really nice. And these windows took me a while to figure out, because they're not windows. They're just this metal frame, again, used to make it look like there's a window. And it works surprisingly well. We can walk out here, we've got this kind of door frame look, and we've got this railing here to stop us, but these windows, there's nothing here. We can just run out. And my avatar's going to keep falling, so we're going to go back to the lookbook, pick my avatar, and quickly respawn at the spawn point. But this was just like a really nice looking house, all made from default or free items, and I thought I really liked the style, and it really inspired me to make something. And I started wondering, well, how was this made? Where do you get all these wall pieces? So I'm going to show you. And again, I'm doing that terrible thing of not switching, telling you what buttons I'm pressing. Just seeing in Twitch chat, someone pointing out that maybe the bucket's a toilet. That's a sad affair, but maybe that fits the pizza computer hacker gamer playboy. Okay. So let's recap some controls. Right click to look around, right click and hold to drag and look around, arrow keys or WAS keys to walk around, and then F3 to go into third person, but I've got my back up against find something, F3 to go into third person, and first, and toggle that. First, third, first, third, first. That's just the F3 key. And then I can hit F4, and I will kind of detach the camera from my avatar, so I can't walk around anymore, but I'm using the same arrow keys to fly around. And the reason I want to show you this is I want to show you what's inside the wall. Oop, and maybe it's not this wall, maybe this wall. Yes, this is the wall I want to show you. So this is where we're inside the walls now, and you can see there's grass. Why is there grass inside the wall? Okay, let's fly out. That's why. So to make all these walls, what Paula did was take this existing template thing that has this little patch of grass and just flip them and sandwich two together to make the walls. And that's why inside here, if I gotta just get right in between, inside here the wall is made of grass. And I can kind of fly up here and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. It's the same thing as out front with the trees, but sandwiched together with the grass on the inside, so that you can't see all of it. And that's how it was assembled painstakingly. And if I fly out here, you can see a bit more of all the individual segments. It's made it of, but the textures don't quite line up, or they're slightly different heights. So I looked at it and went, wow, you don't have to do that much hard work, Paula. There's actually something you can just do in edit mode to save you all that hassle. And that's going to be the subject of today's stream, is we are going to be looking at how to build a house like Paula did for free using the Sansar Rooftop Template with an understanding of materials and fancy stuff. So that's the topic. So I'm going to go into my experiences on the right here, which is probably slightly cropped off on the stream. I'm going to bring this across, move my webcam. Yeah, it's not quite the right frame, but we've got these widgets on the side here. So we've got lookbook for my avatar, atlas for exploring the world, and then these ones for my experiences. And then we're going to click create, and we're going to call it Swish House. Swish Apartment? It's a house. Or is it Manor? Swish Manor. Yeah. Kind of Malibu, kind of supervillain look. And we're going to do the rooftop template scene. So you can see there's other templates like the toy box, the living room, the watch party. These are all great. If you want something that's nothing, that's the base template. I'm going to show you the rooftop template because it's got a lot of useful pieces that we can steal. And I'm going to drag things back across here because I need the top left corner of the screen. So now that I've created it, I'm going to go edit the scene. And let me know what you think of my improvements to the Twitch stream, guys. I've added some polls, I believe, the Twitch channel, as well as notifications if someone follows me, and a countdown to the next stream. So feel free to give me a follow, and I'll get a little alert when I know that's working. And for everyone in the experience in Sansar, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully Tori is still there and can relay any information you want to pass on to me. Cool, so this is the rooftop template. This block here is kind of the pieces, or at least some of the select pieces it's made of that we can use with the intention of kind of kit bashing. So you can see we've got the tree that Paula had, we've got that kind of nice wood wall thing, got the lights that Paula had, and also the patio lounger and stuff like that. Cool, but this is what it looks like assembled by default in the template, and I don't really not too fussed about this, but I'm going to just grab some of this stuff and move it out of the way. So let's take these pieces. So I'm left clicking and then shift left clicking to select all of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag it over here, and we're just going to leave that stuff behind. And then what I think I'll do is I will show you, for starters, how to get rid of this grass. So again, let's recap some of the things we've talked about before. Left click on an object to select it. This gizmo up here, the blue is moving it up and down, green moving it that way, and then this one's moving it forward and back, and we can grab the wheels to rotate them and flip them and other things like that. And if we've messed it up like this, we can left click on the object to open up the properties menu. Sorry, these windows are overlapping. This scene setting's open by default because it was open last time I was in Sansar, so I'm just going to close that. We're just going to look at properties for now. So I've done all this craziness here. Well, I'm just going to go into rotation and do Control A 0, Control A 0, and set it back to the way it was. And also in properties, you can see things like we can change the scale, and we can also do that by dragging these blocks. So let's put that back to 1. And we're going to be getting to these settings later on in the show, guys. Cool. So we've got a thing. It's one-sized. How do we get rid of grass if we don't want grass on it? Okay, so we're going to go into scene objects here. So scene objects lists everything that's in the scene. So these are all the objects that are here. So you can see there's words like wood staircase, square light. These are all the things that are in the scene. And then down here in the inventory is everything I own. So by default, it's showing me these system things, and these are kind of the default master things we want to use, like lights and sounds, and things like that. But if I go to all sources, you can see everything that I've bought or made or imported, and I've got in my inventory down here. Cool. So recap of that. Let me know if it's too much information coming at you too fast. Let's get rid of grass. We've got our object selected. Selecting it will take us to it in the scene objects. And I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to go down to materials. A bunch of other stuff here. Don't worry about that. We'll get to it later. We're looking at materials right now. So this opens up some material window, and most of this I don't understand. I don't know what albedo map is. I don't know what a normal or roughness map is. I have no idea. But that's okay, because if I have no idea and I can figure this out, so can you. That's the pitch of my stream. So if it's a well-made object, like something from the Sansar Studios team, each of its textures that it's made of are going to appear in as separate things, and they'll be named as well. So concrete and building, things like this, and we'll see we've got the grass coming up here as a option. Some things you might buy off the store, they might not actually be named what they are. Some things also may not have several layers, and it'll just be one texture for everything, even if it's like stone and metal combined. So just be aware of that, that it really depends on the level of skill of the creator and if stuff's broken down. But in this case, grass is separate. So we're going to look at the blend map and the albedo map, all these things, and what we're going to do is we're going to take all of them, and we're just going to, instead of selecting the grass, we're going to select the concrete. So again, you can see you've got the same things listed here that we have listed here on the side. Right? These are all the textures that are used in the object, so we can replace them with other things. So we can go concrete. That doesn't default, because whatever we want, we don't want grass. So yeah, I am not doing this intelligently. There are probably people in Twitch chat and in Sansar right now screaming at me. I don't care. We're not worried about this. Anything that says grass, we're replacing with the word concrete. And if the concrete isn't an option, like it wasn't up here, or it is up here, all the way up here, yeah, if concrete's not an option, we'll just do default. Cool. So now we've removed all mention of the word grass from the grass texture. We're going to hit save settings. And it's going to take a little while to figure that out. And now it's concrete. So now we've gotten rid of the grass. Now you might be asking, where's this concrete texture coming from? Well, I'm going to flip it over, and you can see it now looks the same as the back. So this is how Paula was creating her concrete walls. She had this on one side and another one sandwiched together. But Paula, we can save you a lot of work. We can just make this side look like concrete. But we still have the tiles around the edge. So unfortunately, the word concrete and tile don't seem to be differentiated from each other. It might be floor. So let's try doing that. Let's try setting everything in this texture set to floor. Floor. Okay. So this is the first instance of the concrete, and we're setting it all to floor. Let's see what that changes. That changed the edge. See, I'm not doing this intelligently. But that, oops, flipping you around. let's put this back to 0. But that changed the edge, so we no longer have this concrete edge. Cool. Let's go back to the, whoops, not that, over here, back to here, right-click materials. Let's go back to grass, and we'll change all of that to the set floor as well. Now, something to consider is that, these textures will be stretched and layered and copied as best as they can across the texture. So they might not line up perfectly, and they also might be designed to be warped around a different shape. So for instance, I tried to do this with a house where I wanted to make all the walls wood, but it turns out the wood floor texture included the walls. So I was getting bits of walls in random places and it didn't really work out. So keep in mind that not everything's a nice even square, like we're doing here. You can see what I'm talking about here, where the lines aren't going to line up, and unless we were to deliberately design the objects or change the textures, we're never going to make these line up. But this is pretty good. And you can see, now we've gotten rid of the grass and the concrete, and now we replace it with the tile. So this side is our tile side, and then this side is our concrete side. Pretty great. And by using the same method of just going to scene objects, right-clicking the object that I've selected, materials, I could change everything to be concrete, I could change everything to be grass, and I can make this block consistent or monochrome. Cool, so let's start building some walls. So, I actually like just doing this in free space. We're going to make this half the size by going to scale 50. And what we're going to do is we're just going to select it and duplicate. Control D to duplicate, but it took a couple of hits there. See a lot of chatter in Twitch chat, and unfortunately, I have done this poorly because I've put this on I've got a full screen window over here, but I put the things I need to see out the corner of my eye too far to the left. Can I? No, don't make it that big. Just yeah. Okay, now Twitch chat's huge. Twitch chat's huge, and I lost lag, but that's okay. I can now see things better. Yeah, let's do it like that. Okay, cool. OBS is now at the top of the screen instead of the bottom, and Twitch chat is now over here. Need a screencast keys? Yeah, that would be an interesting idea if I could, I know there are Twitch extensions that would allow you to see a keyboard and it will light up what keys I'm pressing. The only trouble is because we've got the inventory and the properties window and the scene objects windows, and my webcam, I fear it might be too much clutter. But I'm not sure. So we can have a look into that. Cool. So we're gonna take these objects here and we're gonna line them up. You can see when they're touching each other, it starts to freak out a little bit, where no one surface is particularly dominant. I can kind of fix that by raising it up a little bit, moving it just a tiny bit, and now the texture's a little bit happier. But I can select both of these now and do Control D to duplicate and pull it forward like that. Eyeball it a little bit so they line up nice. Good. So now we have a floor. Now we have a tiled floor with walls. Well, not walls. Sorry, rooms. Rooms is what I meant to say. So, is there anything else I want to grab from here? I don't think yet. Let's just put some walls. So we're going to duplicate this, bring it up, and then we could use the rotation coordinates to set it here, but I kind of get confused as whether to be 90 or 100 degrees or whatever. So I like clicking and dragging it to where I think it should be. So it should be about there. Okay, I can see it's minus 90, and I can just round that number up. Cool. And then I want to flip it this way, so that should be at 0, and it's kind of auto-filled the minus 180 here. Terrific. Now with this one, I don't want to have the tiles on the outside. Tiles are kind of an indoor thing. So we're going to go back in scene objects, and we're going to make everything concrete texture. So again, this feels pretty advanced, right? It feels kind of complicated, but I don't want you to be intimidated because we're just selecting objects and we're just finding the word that makes most sense. And we're changing everything to be that word. I don't know what an albedo map is. I don't know what a roughness map is. Like, I know it looks like I'm going through it very quickly, but I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I want it to be concrete. So I'm replacing every word with concrete. And sometimes, even though we've changed it, it'll still say light grass, even though obviously the grass isn't there. I don't know why it does that. But when we save it, it will update this. Donk. Make sure everything is default or concrete. Cool. And then we hit save. It's going to take a little while to think about it. And I missed something. All right. Let's go back in. So these are concrete. Okay, this one needs to also be concrete. Concrete. Everything is concrete. Now you might be saying to yourself, Eliot, concrete's kind of ugly. Well, sometimes it can give that sleek minimalist. Why isn't this working? I did it. Everything is concrete. Oh, is this one also? Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit hard to remember which ones you did. And sometimes it doesn't always stay updated. So we're just going to go through this again. I know, I'm sorry, this is really boring. Of me going through all these menus, making sure every word is concrete. But evidently I missed something somewhere, and I am paying the price. Okay, so we couldn't get that to work. And in the interest of saving time, I'm just going to flip it around. You can see what I'm trying to do. There's something beyond me as to why it's not working. Cool. But what we can do is we can kind of crop this a little. Something like that. Give it a good look. And we can bring this across. And then we can select and duplicate and spin round. Whoop. And hit that even numbers. Now you see when I evened the rotation of these up, they kind of did it independently of each other, so they're not quite lined up anymore. But that's okay. We're just going to kind of eyeball this back. And look at that. We have, something with walls, something with a floor. We're starting to kind of bash some stuff together. So this is pretty good. Let's see what other stuff we can do by messing around with materials, because I don't want you to watch me floor by floor assemble a house. I've got something to show you at the end of the stream that'll show you how far I took this idea. But let's look at something else here, and let's look at these lights. Now, I like the squareness of these lights, but there's something about them I don't like. And I'm sorry, I'm zipping around over here. What I'm looking for is over here, actually. Here we go. This is what I want to show you. This is a light. And you can see it kind of glows a little bit, like you would expect a light to. But if I take a look at the underside of these lights, they don't glow at all. They look kind of flat and gross. And this... Don't mean to criticize the amazing way the Sansar Studios team, but the fact that this doesn't glow bothers me. So we're going to make it look more like this light object that comes in this template. And we're going to do that by selecting it and going into materials. So what we have here is another option that we can look at. So what we have here is the standard and alpha mask and a bunch of other things. That again, I do not understand, but it's okay. We don't need to understand them, because what I want to do is, instead of standard and alpha mask, I want to set it to standard and emissive. And that, if I scroll down, you'll see there is now an emissive intensity slider. So I'm going to click save, and I did the wrong texture. I meant to do the underside of the light, but no, instead I did the outside texture of the light. And now you can see it glows like this one does. So let's do Control Z to undo that. Select the object, right click and, oops, wrong light. Right click the right one that's highlighted, materials, do the other texture, make that one emissive. So we left click this, we scroll down, standard and emissive, save settings, and now when I look at the underside of the light, you see it glows. And it glows like it did the cube before, like this light does. And again, if I go into materials, and go to the texture we changed, I can change the emissive intensity, so I can put this up to like 11, and now it's much brighter. Or I can go back, and I can put it all the way down to 1, and you'll see it's much dimmer, not as bright as that. So now we can make things emissive and glow like we want to. Let's do something really crazy. All right, let's do something loopy. Let's take something like this entire block and turn it into a TV screen. So I'm going to select these stairs and delete them. I'm going to select this, Appears in Scene Objects, right-click Materials. And we've got the floor here, and then a bunch of other textures. And we have the Standard and Detail. We're going to click this, and instead of Emissive or anything else, we're going to go Media Surface. And then we're going to save the settings. And again, that wasn't the texture I thought it was, because naming, but you can now see we have a series of TV screens all the way around the edge. So let's go back into this, and maybe we want this one marked floor, and we'll turn that into a media surface. So drop down menu, media surface, save settings. Okay, now the whole thing is covered in tiny squares of media screens. I thought it was going to be one big screen, but instead it's lots and lots of tiny screens. But what we can do now is we can go into options, tools, scene settings, bring that window across, and we can scroll down here to media stream URL. So we can put in a stream URL, and it will allow us to see on this, what was a tiled floor, instead see a video feed. So let me try and grab my own Twitch stream. Now there is some formatting that needs to happen to it. So I'm going to search Sansar Media Surface. Now you may remember last week, I accidentally spent like 10 minutes. Okay, maybe it was more like 30 seconds. Looking at Media Surface instead of showing you what I was making. So this time I'm not going to switch. This time I'm just Googling Sansar Media Surface, finding the right help page, and I am going to grab the URL example there. I'm going to Control C, I'm going to come back across here, I'm going to paste it in here. So you can see it's http://player.twitch.tv, and then it's !channel, and it's going to request a channel ID. So we don't want this, we want Sansar official. And then it's and HTML5, we want it to be HTML5, that's the best video. And then and volume equals 1, being true, meaning there is sound. Terrific. Excuse me. So we covered this last time, but let's go over it again. If I go into my system in my inventory, and I select an audio emitter, which isn't showing up because visibility, audio volumes. There we go. And you can see there's this tiny little block. Well, we're going to go into the properties of it here. And instead of point, we're going to make it a sphere. And we're going to make it a really big sphere so we can see it. Cool. And then I'm going to go back to visibility. I'm going to go down to audio volumes and hide it again. Right, let's close some of these windows. Getting messy. Close you. Move scene settings across. We're going to go to options. I'm going to go audio, video, preview. And that should start playing my Twitch stream. Now you can see it still has some of the tiling going on, and that's because one of the something like the emissive map or the metalness map or something like that is still set to being tiles. So it looks like it's kind of being actually projected onto the tiled texture instead of replacing the texture, which is interesting. And honestly, whether that's going to happen or not just depends on the objects and the textures. I thought this was one texture and I would be able to make this whole thing a screen, but evidently each square of 9 tiles is one separate texture. So it should finish playing this advert, or is this a long advert? Oh my god, this is an 8-minute advert, Twitch. What are you doing? What are you doing, Twitch? But you get the idea. We can turn anything into a media surface. Let's select these rocks, right? And we're gonna... Oh, we can't... What am I doing? Editing multiple materials isn't out yet. Hopefully soon. Select rock, materials, and we're gonna make it instead of standard detail, media surface, and we're gonna do that for both these things. And that does not look happy, but you can see it's pulling in the same stream, it's playing the same ad on these rocks. So this is what I loved about when I discovered with media surfaces, we can turn anything into a media surface. Look, we've got a chair. Let's make this chair a media surface. Materials. There's just one texture. Great. You're a media surface. Save. Boom. What else do you want to be a media surface? Let's make the tree a media surface, right? Select it. Right click. Materials. Scroll down. Media surface. Just making everything a media surface. I don't know what these different textures are. Who cares? We're just having some fun here. Anything can be a media surface, guys. Boom. Save settings. The tree is a media surface, guys. Look at this. I made a whole tree into a media surface. Every leaf texture is now a screen. Isn't this the most cyberpunk thing? It's a tree made of TV screens. Playing Twitch. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a recap. We can make anything a media surface. Key point to take away. We can select an object and then right-click it in Scene Objects to bring up the materials list. And while this may look daunting, basically if it's well written up, we can distinguish between what's the floor, what's concrete, what's grass. And we can say, hey, if I don't want grass on this, I can just change that to a different texture in the object, like concrete or metal. And then again, going into materials, we can do things up here on the right side, like turning it into a media surface or turning it into something that glows. If we want to give something a glowy look, like a light. So those are some options for taking what is in the default Rooftop template and making them more exciting. So let me show you how I applied that by showing you my experience Runner's Hub. And yes, I'm going to leave the scene and discard my changes. Now, a smart streamer would have loaded into this before doing it now, live on stream. Because this experience is a little bit heavy, actually. One change we're hoping to bring out soon is the option to cancel loading into a scene if you're having a connection issue or if it's just taking a really long time. But thankfully it's caught up thanks to the power of the Sansar office internet, and we're okay. So this, gonna hit F3 to go into first person. This is my cyberpunk apartment building. That's just some trash falling from the sky, don't mind that. So this has got a lot more going on than Paula's, but drew a lot of inspiration from that. So we got our sunset, we got our buildings, and a lot of these are available on the store. Sorry, not a lot, all of them. A lot of this is made from the default template, all of it's available on the store. I don't know how to make any of this stuff. But let's take a look at some clever stuff. So you may remember this was a path on the grass in Paula's little kind of nook area with the tree and the patio chair. Well, I changed that to having the tiled template and then used a air vent that was in the Rooftop template to create this kind of vented look on the front of my building. But here we've got the same stairs. Didn't change anything here, although wood is not very cyberpunk, so maybe I should replace that. Oh, let's look at some other things. The lights. I'm gonna hold middle mouse and release to teleport down here. You remember the lights I showed you and compared them to the square ones and how they're emissive? I made them a different color. So that's something else we can mess around with materials, is we can change the color of the lights to tint them red, like these. Maybe a bit big, but my idea was that like this is some kind of train station and you arrive and there's this row of red kind of LED lights guiding you to the apartment building because there's so much smog in the cyberpunk future. You need lights to help you through that. Cool. So let's go in here, and we're going to take the first door on the right. I kind of ran through a pretty cool space without showing you. Dun 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 dun. Heavy experience from Men in Black. And definitely going to be adding some sounds in here of droning fans. But again, this is all from the template, right? Remember this wood wall thing that we had? we had these buildings that had windows. This is what we did with that retexturing when I changed this concrete block to have the tiles on it. And then that is a default vent that comes in the rooftop template, just scaled up to the maximum, as is this vent, although it's not scaled up to the maximum, but it's pretty large. So we're going to go into the apartment here and teleport up, and now we have our little apartment. And I'm going to walk forwards because I want to show you off this cool thing I made. Oh yeah, ain't that a sight? Of a cyberpunk city, sunset, the wonderful film noir kind of streaked look with the blinds. And again, this was all created with things that come with Sansar. These are the walls, sorry, not the walls, but some of the sections from the rooftop template. This lattice of slots comes from rooftop template. Remember these metal things? So I was pointing out in Paula's door frame, it was like this nice metal thing, and the windows were faked by having a nice metal frame. This is actually a bollard. I will go back before the end of the stream and show you. This is one, you barely notice it in the rooftop template, but it turns out it's like 10 meters long. So you can use this really nicely for adding like a metal fixture to things on your windows. And up here we have those square lights. Now I haven't made all of them emissive yet because I only realized halfway through that's something I could do. So I'm teaching you now that you could be changing these to be emissive before you put them all over your ceiling. That's a slight problem with the light in the scene. We're going to ignore that. And here's something I turned into a media surface. So this is actually an invisible platform that I then just turned into a media surface to make this kind of glass cyberpunk screen. We've got some... ignore the light issue. I need to fix that. We stand at it from this side. You can see, we've got essentially what are 4 screens here. These are 4 invisible platforms, and just turn them into a media surface, and they create this kind of glass, kind of cyberpunk look. And then I set up some retrowave music videos on there that's using 80s anime. And yeah, here's our patio lounger again from the scene, and I use those metal pieces. You remember the bed Paula had? She had this nice bed with this kind of metal rim to it. And that was, again, these are the same as... Gonna open these windows. Same as this metal piece here. So this is a metal piece pretty large. Here it is very small, the same piece, to give that a little bit of a nice finish to the bed, a little edge to it, a little cyberpunk look. Cool. And then these are the steps. Here's again that tiles that we had outside, or replace the grass with tiles. So let's go into edit mode, and I can show you just how many pieces this is made of. Yes, this is... Oh my goodness, am I... Panic attack. That I was showing you the wrong thing on stream this whole time. What happened was that same web page that I had before was overlapping OBS, so I thought OBS was showing it. Okay, so here we are. So I'm gonna go fly up through the ceiling here, and you can see it's made up out of all them same parts that we were using from the rooftop template by just replacing some things to be tiled or to be concrete. These are great big huge metal pieces that we've got here, and I'm gonna move all this stuff around, so I'm not gonna save it. And yeah, just made a lot of pieces from the rooftop template to assemble this cyberpunk apartment, and kind of kit bash it together. And again, we see the concrete layers here, all made of different pieces of different sizes, all from the rooftop template, to kind of assemble together and build this space. And we did the same thing with our apartment building. If I using the plus key to move my camera a little bit faster because it's a large distance to cover. All of these are just this block that has a window in the rooftop template duplicated because it's got windows, and then around 2 skyscrapers to create this kind of skyscraper look. This is actually the same skyscraper as that one. It's just smaller and stacked on top of each other. So it is completely feasible. Lost a video stream in world. Oh no. Having some technical difficulties inside Sansar. I hope it comes back soon. Let me have a look. stream on Twitch. How's it looking on Twitch? Okay, I'm still there on Twitch. You have to reload in Sansar. That is unfortunate, but I'm glad we have the Twitch stream live. It's back. Thank you, Mark Photo. Thank you for the updates. That's really helpful to me. Terrific. All right, back in Sansar. So I think I was going a bit quickly, so let's recap. I'm going to slow down my camera with the minus keys. So we have this cyberpunk apartment I built, and you can see I stole a lot of the ideas from the layout. From Paula's house, we've got this kitchen area with this kind of counter look through it. We've got this little garden bit in the middle, so to speak, and we have the bedroom on the left here, and then we've got these windows that open when you walk in, and you can overlook the whole cyberpunk city. And this is all at least the walls of it. The walls are all made from simple stuff from all from the Rooftop Template. So let me show you something else I did that I think you'll find somewhat useful. I'm gonna go to, actually no, I'm not gonna show you that. I'm gonna make it so that I don't have to load into another scene just to demo it. Let's make something kind of cool. We're gonna go to inventory. We're gonna go to purchased, and we're gonna go. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Rewind. I'm gonna go to a different experience, and I'm gonna show you two other things. But the point I want you to take away from this, because I do feel like I'm going through this very quickly, even though I've been on stream for 45 minutes, is that by what I was showing you before about right-clicking objects, clicking materials, and just changing the different textures, you can use that to kit bash together your own apartment without having to hide where the grass is in the Rooftop Template like Paula did, and give it your own look. And if you have textures on hands, this is the cheap way to do it, but I can select this, I can right-click, I can go materials, and I can do a custom texture file, I can browse, and I can pick something from my computer. So if you want this to all be metal, just download a metal texture, and you can do that instead. The only reason I didn't do that was I just didn't have anything saved to the computer that I could use. So let's take another look at another way to use messing around with the materials. Oh, also, let me call out these. I took these shelves like Paula did. These are not shelves, they're door frames. Someone made a Lego Mega Block style house and uploaded it to the store, and the door frames are these, and they're nice kind of, let me select something far away. They're just these kind of nice blue plastic looking shelves. So you can get creative with how you use stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go my experiences, and we're gonna go edit my treehouse. Yes, I don't want to save anything I moved around. Whew. Coming at you fast with all the information. Alright. Here we are in my treehouse. We have the house here, little garden area, little playroom. Again, messing around with materials. We have a house here that I changed. Let me get an example. Sorry. Going to inventory, searching home, because it's called hover home. Whoops. This is what the hover home looks like by default. You can see it's all white and tiles. My one is all wood because I selected it, right-clicked materials, and I set a whole bunch of these textures to be the front wood, to be this texture. So that's why my one's now made of wood. Messing around with materials. More examples of it in use. So let's do something else with messing around with materials. That I'm trying to remember why I came to this experience to show you that. Now I remember. Where did I put it? I put it somewhere. Here we go. This picture. A picture can be a custom texture that we import and is thus a material. Let me just turn down the experience audio. I don't know how loud it is for you, but it's a little loud for me. Cool. So what we did here with this poster frame is we went materials, and you see this poster, background, and frame. So there are a lot of things on the store, a lot of posters that you can buy, and some of them will have helpful instructions like these. So what I was told is you need to do at least the albedo map and the emissive map with an image, and then that image will be treated like a texture, and basically now you have a picture in a frame. And I had this screenshot of someone wearing a unicorn head, so that's what I made my picture. So I bought another poster recently, so I can show you doing this from scratch. We'll drag this out, so it's called poster frame. And oh wait, this is the same one. I thought I bought a new one. I mean, instead of searching, I'm gonna delete, enter my search. It was something I got recently. Rusty bucket, desk lamp, no, metal perforated frame or something like that. Cool, so we're gonna drag this out here, put it nice front and light, so we can see it more clearly. I'm gonna make it bigger. See, it's got this nice metal frame. Drag it bigger and bigger. I can right click it, I can go materials, and say we have frame and we have art. So I wonder if there's any default images saved to this computer. Let's find out. This is a computer I use for streaming. Oh, here we can do my Learn to Build videos that I still have. Do I have any other ones? No, I just have these ones. Cool. So we need to do. Let's just try doing the albedo map and see how that works. We'll go save settings. It's oh, it's the wrong size. Yes, it's got to be kind of square. Let's do something like my Twitch stream. I'll take a screenshot of it, I'll download it, and in real time, I will add it to. No, wait. That doesn't work. I just did Control-Shift-P to take a screenshot, but I don't actually have that capabilities on here, on this computer. So prepared, Elliot. So professional. Okay. But you get the idea, right? We've bought a frame off the store, we've selected it, we right-click in Scene Objects and go to Materials, and then under Art, in this example, we just want to put a custom texture file. Now the reason I got an error message was because it was widescreen and not square, and it needs to be kind of square. But that is how we can do something like making this wonderful unicorn picture. Again, by messing around with materials. And how we can take this house and make it out of wood, how we can take Rooftop Template defaults and get rid of the grass and do whatever we want. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go back to my Swish Manor. I'm going to bring some of this together. Cool. So let's start. I like using this one that has the grass here. So let's start by selecting this, right click, materials, grass, and then we're going to change it to wherever we can to floor. So the floor is the tiled option. Again, doesn't matter if we don't know what all these things are. We're just going to change all of them to floor or default, because we also don't want it to look like grass. That's going to convert that, and now we have this nice tiled floor piece. So let's do something else with that. Let's go materials. We've got the floor, the grass selected. That's the floor now. And we're going to scroll down, and something else I didn't show you is the tint. So like those lights in my cyberpunk house, they were red. Well, I can just click this, and I can make this red. And click accept, and save. And now it's red. Now you'll notice it didn't change the color pure red, because that's not really how that works. Basically, it's just applying a red tint to the texture. Anything the texture still has is going to kind of come through. So it's got this kind of nice, rich, kind of sanguine, kind of crimson quality, which just looks really nice. And we can do something like right-click materials and the stepstones. So the stepping stones here, we can do something else. We can go to the shader, and instead of standard, let's make all those media surfaces and save the setting. And now they're really broken up TV screens, which is kind of interesting. And we can do the same with the tree. We can select this. We can go materials. I really like making the tree into a media surface. Madness. So we're going to do that. Scroll down, make all of these media surfaces. And then, we can also make this glow a little. Okay, again, getting ahead of myself instead of describing what I'm doing. If they were not emissive, we could select something and go standard emissive. But sometimes it'll already have an emissive slider. So let's just make this 2, and let's make everything else 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. Cool. So we're changing everything to be emissive 1 and be a media surface, except for this tree, we're making that emissive 4, and instead of it being a media surface, we're making it standard emissive. And then let's just tint that. Let's just give it a bit of a fuchsia by clicking the tint down here. So I don't know exactly what this is going to look like, but I'm going to hit save settings, and oh dear, wow. Right click, materials. Emissive. Half of what we said. Save. A little less intense. Cool. And then if we want to add a media stream, we have the scene settings window open here already, but I'm going to close it. I'm going to go tools, scene settings. Mark Photo telling me normal map needs a normal texture to give it a 3D look. Thanks for the heads up. That is pretty useful. try 0.5. We're not. Go big or go home. Okay. And then we're going to put in the media stream URL, which I can now remember. It's http, oops, too many T's, player.twitch.tv. No, I don't think it said embed. I think it was just / channel. Sorry, the mic is actually blocking me from being able to see the keyboard. Channel equals Sansar official and HTML5 and volume equals 1. And now if media preview thing was already selected, so I can go options, go media preview, and you'll see it's now bringing my Twitch stream in the best fashion it can on these stepstones and on this tray. But the texture still exists, so what you can see with the tree is going on is the things that have been turned emissive are now pure pink and emissive and have lost all texturing, whereas the tree bark is still there and it kind of looks like it's being projected onto the tree bark. It looks like I'm getting an error message or just seeing a skip ad button. Well, there we go. So by messing around with materials, we can completely ruin the appearance of something, or we can make it so that we can take this grass and turn it into concrete or tiles and ease up our need to hide things when we're trying to kit bash them together. So I would really love to encourage everyone watching to go and try this out for yourself with the Rooftop template. Maybe I should set an event, not a contest with prizes, just an event to say, hey, take the Rooftop template and make a house like Paula did on the Rooftop template, and don't add anything to it. Don't buy stuff from the store, or maybe I'll let you buy stuff from the store. I don't know. Making too much contest. Take the Rooftop template. And by messing around with materials, make a house that you would like to live in. And remember I told you about that metal thing? So this little bit here, we're going to select that. And we're going to pull it up and out. This tiny board is huge. Like I said, it's like a 10-meter little metal thing. And this, too many windows open. If I select the little properties window, this is size 1. That's size 10. Right? So we have all of this to play with. With this lovely metal texture. And that's how Paula created the fake window frames, the door frame, the shower frame, and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like this towering monolith is the unsung hero of the Rooftop Template. It really creates a nice finish and a border to things. Looks great in the light, has wonderful texturing, and it's so hidden away, and I had no idea it could be so big. But yeah, that is what I wanted to cover. Making a media surface? You got it, Twitch chat. You got it. Right click, materials. Media surface. Save. There. It's also a media surface now. So that's what I want to cover today, guys. A little bit more advanced than some of the other stuff I've been covering previously, getting into messing around with materials. But honestly, it's a lot of fun turning everything into media surfaces, as well as also just changing the tint of things, or being like, I don't want this to have grass, I want it to be concrete or tiles, and I can see the object has the textures I want. So if you see an object has something you want, like, oh, I like these tiles, I like this look, I like this look, I want it all to look like this, that's just a matter of selecting it, right-clicking it in the scene objects, going into materials, and just clicking around and hitting save and seeing what it looks like. And you can create terrifying things like this glowing TV tree. So go check out in the Atlas, just do a search for Paula, go visit Paula's hut, and go, okay, this is kind of nice, and then come into the Rooftop Template, and pretty much everything you need to make a house with that layout is in the scene, right? The metal fixtures, the steps, the walls, the patio chairs, the light fixtures, they're all in here. But Paula could have just had a little bit of an easier time if they had known about messing around with the material settings. So thanks very much. That's today's stream, guys. Next week, I'll be revisiting Paula's hut because I wanted to cover more today. We'll be looking at, those beer bottles that was in front of the drunk robot on the football. We couldn't pick them up. We couldn't kick them. That's easy to do. I'll be showing you guys how to do stuff like that. So you actually pick up and throw things around. And then the week after that, we'll get back into some simple scripts. And I can show you how in my Cyberpunk apartment, I made those blinds that roll down automatically when you move in, as well as doing light switches and things like that. And we might also be able to have a TV remote for our media surfaces, and we can switch channels. So thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Catch you next week. Bye-bye for now.